ได้ทำยังไง Let's see. Dun, 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 dun. Oh, hey, welcome. Let's see if anybody else shows up. How are you handling the quarantine? Oh, hey, we're getting more people now. Pop this up. Any questions on the assignment so far? Yeah, two responses or one question. You can do the concept maps. Uh, Good. Shrink this. If there's enough people, I might start to lecture. I think it pretty. So that's a concept map on the left here. Oh, this is cool. Traits. While you guys are waiting, if you guys want to take this Big Five personality test, I could use Zoom, but if it's the difficulty is like having everyone meet at the same time. I mean, I wouldn't want to repeat like a lecture if there's only five people attending each time I repeat it. So the idea with Twitch is that it records the stream, so if someone misses it, they can always go back and watch the stream afterwards. Getting an echo. Let's see. I probably won't lecture today. It seems like that's it's kind of last minute. I posted it last night, so let's see. That's not what I'm looking for. This one. Um, two posts. No, that's not. Yeah, so from the poll results, there's probably like 14 people at most so far that may show up on a given Monday, Wednesday. So I don't know if you really need lecture for psychology. I got you. Oh, it's the webcam. Does anyone want to know their grade? I can send you a PDF of what you've completed or what you're missing. Maybe I'll just point out what's kind of cool and important on these slides before we take off. Basic stuff, basic stuff. We talked a little bit about the id, ego, and superego when we started the class. This is really fun to go through. It's Freud's psychosexual stages. Basically, he says the reasons why we have negative personality traits is because we failed certain things at certain ages. So, like the oral stage, failing to wean properly, toilet training, this weird thing he believes that little kids do, which is engage in masturbation. And then that's pretty much it. And Freud's weird because he says nothing happens between 5 to 13 years of age, which most of us know that those are kind of very important years of our lives and shapes your future. So Freud says nothing happens during that period, which is weird. And then just more explanations of his different stages and what something it emphasizes castration anxiety. And his weird belief that because boys are afraid of being castrated by their fathers, they learn to develop a moral conscience, what he refers to as their superego. And girls cannot develop superegos like boys because they don't have this weird fear. So yeah, read through that in your book. It's kind of cool. What we do take from Freud is these defense mechanisms. So like engaging in denial, displacing behaviors, getting mad at someone else, projecting behaviors on others, just being suspicious or paranoid of other people, rationalizing beliefs, thinking things are okay, reaction formation, just changing your own beliefs and thinking it's not that bad. So read through some of these: regression, repression memories, see, collective unconsciousness, summaries, boom, boom, boom. This one's cool, the coping styles. It talks about whether some of us engage in behaviors of moving towards people, like associating with others when we're upset. Other people will move against people, meaning they basically lash out on people when they're upset. And others are moving away from people where they like to self-isolate when they're upset. Okay, down you go, buddy. Right, yeah. So you can think about yourselves. Do you seek out? I can't do this. Do you seek out other people when you're upset? Do you keep to yourself? Do you lash out at others? I can't get this to basically do cool things. Okay. Anyways, normally in class we would take this and ask you guys to talk to each other and decide where on this trait scale you fall. Either you're like 1 being very reserved or 8 being very outgoing. So this is like the personality trait tests, and we talk about what it means, all these different words and stuff. But yeah, since we're doing online, we aren't able to go through those traits and do an activity together. Here are some more traits that you can basically decide if you're more authoritarianism, if you need, do you have a higher need for achievement or cognition, more thinking. And the ocean one, you guys should take the test that I sent you guys, this link. The big 5 personality test is used pretty common. So this is the most common personality test that we use, and it basically breaks it down on these 5 traits rather. How open you are, how conscientious, if you're extroverted or introverted, how agreeable you are, basically how well you get along with others, and then your trait for neuroticism, which is a negative trait. So just being more prone to being unhappy, anxious, and negative emotions. And if you guys take the survey, then you won't have to worry about these traits, but these are some of the questions that you may get asked on the survey, or the personality test rather. So this is the Barnum Effect. I look up students' horoscopes and read it to them to see if the horoscope matches them. So you can read the horoscope yourself and see if the horoscope is right about you on your personality. And most of the time people say yes because of this Barnum Effect, which is we tend to believe in vague descriptions of ourselves that can basically fit almost anyone. Dun, dun, dun. Free will, humanistic perspective. We cover unconditional positive regard on this, but you can just look up Carl Rogers' humanistic perspective. This is a big test, the MMPI, usually administered in hospital settings. It's a really long test. It asks a bunch of questions and basically assess if you're doing well, your mental health, well-being, and all that stuff. So it asks about your depression, your schizophrenia symptoms, hysteria. And then we usually go through the class together and go through these projective ink blocks. So I just asked you, what do you guys see when you look at this picture? And students usually get pretty creative about what they see. They don't really mean anything for the most part unless you keep seeing the same things. So most of us come up with pretty creative things of what they're seeing: fairies, butterflies, spaceships, pretty common themes. Unless you see clowns in everyone, then you might have a fear of clowns, something like that. So just fun activities we do in class. We talk about, for this, you can go ahead and tell me a story about what happens, what's going on in here. So just testing what students come up with. Editing my slides while we're at it. Pictures are too small. Yeah, so same thing. Tell me what's going on in these pictures. Design picture format. Some students relate all the pictures together, which is pretty cool, but you don't really have to. I can't see the chat window right now. Okay. Pop out chat. Yep, same thing here. Tell me what's going on between these two individuals. Is it a grandmother? Is it a worker? So these are called projective personality tests, and basically they are supposed to review details about yourself, what you're focused on, what's on your mind, kind of stuff. So this other one is pretty cool to check out. Unfortunately, you can't, I guess you could do it yourself as long as you don't read what the results are ahead of time. So, boom, boom. So let's see if I can load this. Oh, okay, wrong link. It didn't save. Okay, that one. Nope, it's not copying and pasting correctly. Can I copy? Okay, now it's working. There we go. Ooh. So if you click on that, read through this. Put up my browser again. Slides. Browser. Pick this one. Is it loading? Oh yeah, cool. All right. So this is a really fun personality test. Usually I would read it in the class and you guys would imagine walking through a forest. But yeah, you can read it and then kind of write down your answers and then don't see the rest of the posts until after you've completed all this, and they'll tell you what the answers mean. So yeah, you can read that and then talk about it in your discussions if you guys want it. You don't have to watch this video. It is a long video on Phineas Gage and how his personality changed, more of a dramatization. Just talk about introverts and extroverts. I think most people kind of fall in between, and it depends on the situation. So, um, but some people say they're more introverted than extroverted. For example, I'm more introverted, and then this is more just support for where the introversion may come from. Basically, some of us are born with just more. We have a behavioral approach system, which we like to go out and seek rewards. So if you're extroverted, talking to people has a reward of like, hey, you might make a new friend. Versus a behavior inhibition system where talking to people might be like, hey, you might embarrass yourself. And so we become more introverted because we're more sensitive to the punishers. Trans dopamines, yeah, life story approaches, just more details. Yep, that's kind of like the major points for the personality um, lectures. It's just more activities. I don't really focus on it too much because personality is a really hard thing to measure in science. So it's just kind of fun to think about. But most of us are going to say our personality changed depending on what situation we're in, who we're with, and what the purpose or goal of our behavior is. So it's kind of hard to make predictions from that. Anyways, have fun with the personality chapter. I'll try to schedule on Monday, 10 o'clock again to see if I put the schedule ahead of time, we'll have more students show up. The idea of if, when we do a real lecture, I'll ask you guys questions and you can respond in chat about the questions I asked. So it's more interactive. I'm not really a fan of recording my lectures because students just don't watch them. It's kind of boring if it's not interactive. So we'll see. So thanks for the few individuals who showed up and stayed. All right, so I'll end stream and good luck with your online work. I'll see you guys on Monday.